Oh, IV relationships, day 20 already of our free Get Up and Go challenge for August of 2021. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, and I don't know about you, but I had a blast doing the imaginary friend exercise yesterday. I actually ended up doing a past, present, and future discussion with my imaginary friend and came up with a lot of really interesting aha realization epiphanies about the whole dealing with difficult people and handling difficult situations, mostly dealing with difficult people, difficult relationships, people that I would have considered enemies or frenemies or challenging in the past and in the present and in the future. And it was really interesting, the things that I discovered about myself and how those situations actually happened, I believe, now with much time and revisitation to actually show me things that I needed to see about myself, about the situation, about what was really going on, things that were important. And I also realized that a lot of it is not about me at all, or never was about me. It was about the person, and we just had a mismatch in beliefs or thoughts or feelings about certain topics. So that was really fun for me. I hope it was as fun for you. I've never done the whole enemy relationship thing, so it's just a whole new tack and a whole thing that probably most of us don't think about. We just, go about our day. We try to avoid people that are challenging for us, people we get off on the wrong foot with, people that we don't agree with. We just avoid those relationships. So how do we make those relationships work for us, especially in situations where it's required that we work with somebody or we're involved with somebody that is difficult? And today we're going to talk about the options. The O in our SOAP framework stands for options. We talked about our story, our situation, discussing it with our imaginary friend yesterday. Today we're going to talk about options, and the tool we're going to use is visualization and imagination. Well, what the heck? Visualization is just any way, any strategy, any technique, any method of creating images and pictures or diagrams or animations or videos or ways of seeing something in our mind the way we want it to be, not the way it is. We can see the way it is just by looking around ourselves. How do we want it to be? And there's some tips and strategies for doing visualization. Sometimes people struggle with visualization, me included. I never thought I was a visualizer when I first started to visualize. And then, people will give the example, well, don't think of a pink elephant, don't think of a blue car, don't think of a red dragon, and of course, as soon as someone says that, you automatically create pictures in your mind because our brain works in pictures. So what are some ways, some tips and strategies for visualizing if you're a beginner, and then if you want to achieve anything that you want in your life? And of course, we're using the O, our options. We're using this to brainstorm, because brainstorming is my favorite, coming up with ideas of possible ways we could fill the gap between where we are and where we want to be. Where we are, when I was younger, I would say I had more enemies and more difficult people and more challenges than I do now, and then I want in the future. Theoretically and in actuality, I want to have no difficult people in my life. I want to be ahead of the curve in terms of understanding myself, so I don't attract difficult people into my life, and I don't have to be looking for ways to smooth things over because I already am attracting the people that I want to be having in my life, and they're not challenging to me. Now, it doesn't mean I don't want to be challenged, because that's how I grow, and that's how most of us grow. So what are some tips for visualization? Number one, don't overthink it. I think that we always look for a huge, complicated process and way of doing things, and we don't need that. We just need to keep it simple, close our eyes, use all our senses, think of pictures in our mind, make sure that we're relaxed. Don't, if we get distracted, don't beat ourselves up. Just pull ourselves back into imagining what we want things to be like, and visualizing with all of our senses. The more senses we add to a visualization, we talked about this when we talked about the Power Vision movie and the putting ourselves into the movie and feeling what it feels like. We want to make sure that we have the emotions and how the visualization actually makes us feel. We want to visualize with the sense of knowing that we're going to be able to visualize. Every human being automatically visualizes. The only way we don't is if we tell ourselves it's hard and that we don't know how to do it. So what are some strategies to visualize and make sure that meditation is the same way? People think that they can't meditate, but all you have to do is relax and breathe, and that's meditation. We'll talk about meditation later on in the challenge. It's one of the tools we'll talk about for the day that we go through all 4 of the SOAP frameworks for an area or aspect of our life. So what are some tips to visualize, to go ahead and create and get what you want and actually have it show up in your life? Number 1, visualize what life will be like when you have the thing that you want. So when I have like no enemies, and I am like enlightened, and I've grown as a person so that I don't need the world to show me where I'm messing up, what will that look like? Number 2, visualize the steps that you're going to take along the way to get there, to get the thing that you want. Number 3, picture it in all the vivid detail with all the senses, all your imagination. Number 4, create a vision board. If you don't know what a vision board is, we can do a whole step-by-step workshop on that, because vision boards are really fun to create, and they're very, very powerful. And now you can do them on the computer. We used to do the hand cut out, and I wish I had mine. It's here somewhere. But mine is actually a 3-ring binder about this thick. It's purple, and it's full of things that I want. It's more like a lifelong vision board than it is just a little like short-term vision board. It's a long-term one. Number 5, write down all of your goals. Write down what you want. Do you write your goals down? My dad drilled into my sisters and I and my kids and his great-grandkids that it's imperative that you write down your goals. He learned that when he was a young person, and he used it to achieve great things in his life, and we've done the same. Number 6, set mini goals along the way. I always take my goals and break them down. I think I've talked about this before. I break them down into little bite-sized pieces. Number 7, let yourself zone out and daydream. Number 8, put in the work. You got to put in the work. Number 9, skip the to-do list. 10, live your life as if the thing that you want is already in your life. And number 11, say it out loud. There's incredible power in saying the things that you want out loud. So this is just some ideas of how to visualize. We're going to visualize and imagine possible ways, possible options to fill that gap. We're going to do at least 10, and we're going to share 3 as our action item. Why 10 and 3? Of course, you know already if you've been with me. Otherwise, you'll find out tomorrow, because we're going to use those 3 in our A of the SOAP framework as we talk about our relationship. I'm going to go have some fun with this today, visualizing possible ways, given all the interesting things I learned about myself and my experiences from talking with my imaginary friend. If you have any questions, ask me in the comments below. Otherwise, use your imagination and your visualization to come up with possible options of how you can go from where you are now in your relationship to where you want this relationship to be. Whichever relationship you're working on. I'm doing enemies or nemesis, competitors, whatever, however you want to describe them. That's what I'm doing for relationships this time. And a lot of times it's tough because we don't want to have relationships with people that are difficult to us, right? But that's not always an option. Sometimes there's people in our lives that are difficult. Sometimes our spouses are difficult. Sometimes we're difficult. And we have to have relationships with ourselves, with our significant others, with our families and friends. And they're not always going to be smooth sailing. All right, have an awesome day. I will be with you tomorrow. Bye.